Hello everyone. So in this session we are going to discuss about the assessment and the question bank on the Perceive platform. So first let's start with question bank. So question bank is basically a repository of all the questions, 3D based questions, MCQ, true and false, all the different types of question that is already created by your team. And from there, from the question bank, the assessment is like the assessment allows you to fetch those questions and create a club of questions as an assessment for a particular grade or for a particular topic. So what we are going to do, firstly, we are going to understand a few things before we jump into the discussion. So let's start with question bank first. So as you can see, this is basically a page which shows you all the questions which are created earlier by the users. So how do we create a question first? We'll try to understand that. And how does the 3D model come to a particular question? We'll try to understand that. So let's say if I want to create a question, so we are going to create 5 to 6 different question, and using those 5 to 6 different question, we will create one assessment which will be a mix of all those questions based on the 3D models. So what we are going to do is that, let's say we select the sector, we select the category. For example, I'll just select chemistry for now. Let's say I am creating it for grade 10th. Level can be defined like, is it what is the complexity of the question? Let's say I select medium, and then I select the question type. So primarily our agenda is to create MCQ questions based upon 3D models. So here you can have single choice 3D model based question, true and false, and multiple choice 3D model based question. Apart from that, if you don't need a 3D model based question, you can create generic questions which will be text based MCQ. So let's say we create multiple choice 3D. So now very important thing over here, like we have already discussed in the post reality media video, that if you add a 3D model from the library, the model will come as it is. It has been pre-configured. But if you need to make some changes in the 3D model, let's say if you want certain components to have some numbers on it, or if you want certain components to be given a particular color code, so that those color codes can be used in the particular question, so you can do that as well. So let's go back to, so I am going to add the questions from the project as of now. So what we'll do is that we are going to use this demo PRM project, and for that purpose what we are going to do is that we are going to make some custom changes in the 3D models, right? So I'll take firstly this particular 3D model which is showcasing the lateral section of a flower. So what I'll do is that I'll add some labels over here, right? So let's say this is my first label which I'm going to add over here. So here, since we are adding the label for a question, so we don't need to add any particular text information over here. So I'll just name it label 1, and there is no need to add any description. Save. My next label will be, let's say, over here. So using these different labels, I can create multiple questions over here. I'll save this as well, and I'll click on update. Now using this particular 3D model, I'll create, let's say, two questions based upon these labels marked as 1 and 2. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on add projects. From here, let's say I have already defined my project demo PRM. So I'll go to the demo PRM. I'll select the 3D model which is going to be used. So I have made changes to this particular 3D model, assessment lateral section of flower. I'll add it over here. So the moment I have added the 3D model over here, you can see that the numbers are appearing as we have defined earlier, right? So what we are going to do is that we are going to create one question first, is what is the component of the flower number 1. So I'll add choice over here, stamen. I can add explanation and hint, since this is the current question bank and assessment is a beta version. So very soon the assessment, explanation and the hint options will also be enabled. But if you want, you can add the explanation, you can add the hint. While the user is attempting, they can go for the hint if they are finding difficulty in answering the question. And at the review stage, after the assessment is complete, they can also go for the explanation. Let's say I'll add three options over here: carpal, sepal, calyx. Now I know that the particular answer is, let's say, stamen. So basically, this is the anther of the flower. So I'll just edit this. Let's say I'll make it anther, right? So I know that this is my particular answer. So what I'll do is that I'll just click on this tick box over here and I'll publish the question. So now this question is ready and this is already created. So if you go to the question bank, your first question, what is the component of the flower? Number one, right? This is there. It multiple choice question, which has been already created. Let's create one more question. So in the similar fashion, I can use the same model to create my next question. So next thing which I'm going to do is I am going to use this particular 3D model over here, and I'm going to make some changes in this 3D model so that I can ask questions based upon the particular component, or let's say I'll use some color code. So for example, let's say if I want to give certain color codes to certain components, so let's say I want to click on this one. So this is my the cochlea of the human ear, right? I want to give it, let's say, greenish color, right? This particular component, I want to give some red color, right? And I'll save it. So once I have saved it, now I'm going to create the next question over here. Let's say education, category is biology, uh, ninth level type. Again, I'm going to, let's say it's a easy question. Question type is true or false, let's say, and create. So once I have done that, I'll do one more thing over here. I have already added two components. So if needed, I can add one more color to one other component as well here. Let's say I'll make some changes in this component. I'll give it orange color over here and I'll update it again. Now I'll fetch the 3D model from the same project. In this one, I have used this 3D model assessment cross section of human ear. So the model is fetched over here. So I'll create one question. Identify the green colored component in the cross section of the human ear. So here again, I'm going to add questions over here. Sorry, so it's a true false question. So is the green colored component in the cross section of a human ear the cochlea? So basically it's a true false. So I don't need to add any options as such. I'll simply click on publish. Yeah. So the answer is true. I'll click on publish. So the moment I have clicked on publish, the question is ready now. Let's create one more question. So I'm going to create one more question over here based on the same 3D model. Now I'm going to use multiple choice 3D. So in this way, you can define that what all types of question you are going to create. Again, I'm going to use the same project, the demo PRM. I'm going to pick up the same model from here, and going to click on add model. Now in this one, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to create an MCQ. The red colored component of the human ear is dash. So I'll add options: ear drum, outer ear, inner ear, or let's say Okay, so I know that this is the eardrum or the tympanic membrane. So I'll just click on publish. The question is ready. Now let's create one more question using a different 3D model. So again, I'm going to use, so before that, if I need to make any changes to the 3D model, I can do that as well. So this is the 3D model which is there in front of me. So I'll do another type of questions over here. So what I'll do is that, let's say I want to give certain, so there, this is a molecule which is showcasing me different so I'll give this red color, and this particular one I shall give a blue color. So I'll update this. So subject is education. This is my chemistry subject category ninth. Let's say, or let's say I am adding 11th over here. Level is medium. Question type is, so this one we'll go for a single choice 3D, right? Let's go and create. So I'll add the same model from my, so this is the particular 3D model assessment iodine pentafluoride. So the model is here before you. The red colored fluorine atoms signify are the, so let's say, let me add the choice: equatorial, axial, none of the above. So I have defined this. These are equatorial, let's say. I'll click on publish. So the question has been saved. Now I have created around four questions. So how am I going to use these four questions and create one single assessment? So I'll go to the assessment tab. I'll click on create assessment. In here, let's say this is a demo assessment I have created. So this is education. Category is, let's say, I'll just add other, and subcategory, let's say I'm creating for 10. I'll click on create. So the moment I have created this assessment, the dashboard of the assessment is in front of you. So here there are certain things which you can define. So let's say this assessment is for 5 minutes. What is the passing grade? I'll define that, okay, 30% is the passing grade. Allow students to immediately check answers while doing the questions. So these are certain checkbox you can define whether you need a negative marking or not. So let's say I don't need negative marking. Instant check. So this will allow the student to do the instant check. Let's say at the end of the assessment, I want them to review, show the correct answer, allow the students to check the correct answer. If I don't allow the review, it will not do the review instantly. It will just give me the final version of the whether the additional things are done or not. So now let's say I want to add some instructions. All, if you need any additional instruction, questions are mandatory. Sorry. So let's say all questions are mandatory. I have added this. I'll click on save and close, and I'll click on, I have saved it for now. So now let's come to the question. So what are the questions? These are the four questions which I have already created, right? So you can pick this. If there are any other questions which you have created earlier, let's say I have created these questions as well, so I can choose that. I will click on add. Now, if my order is to be changed, I can simply move them up and down, right, as per your convenience. There are other changes as well which you can do over here, is like you can move around, and if you need to delete, you can delete any question, and you can make those changes. We have already added one instruction over here: all questions are mandatory. So once I am done with this, I can click on preview as well. So preview will give me a quick understanding of how things are looking over here. In the preview mode, you can start the assessment as well. So these are all the 3D models, right? The red colored fluorine components are positioned at which location? So let's say I select equatorial. So I'll go back before. So this is giving me a preview mode. So in the preview mode, you can see all the questions are visible. How does it look? How does the overall look and feel of the question is coming? That you can check it over here. So once you are okay with everything, now you can simply click on publish. So the moment you click on publish, the assessment is already published. So once you go to the assessment section, you can see the demo assessment is over here. I want to take a test, so I'll do and go for a quick launch. So in the quick launch, you can see that all the questions are there, which 5 questions which we have added. Let's say I quickly, based upon the question, I am make take some calls. Let's say I'll go submit. I'll move to the next question. The colored red component is the eardrum. Let's say I attempt it right? And in the is the green color component in the cross section of human ear the cochlea? Let's say it is cochlea, but let's say I attempt it wrong. I say false, right? I'll move to the next question. This is a number based question. What is the component of the flower? Number one. So number one is basically the anther. I'll click on this and I'll click on submit. The final one is question number 5, right? So which part of the human eye is responsible? So this is just a simple model based question. There is no color code added or something, no number. It is simply giving you a 3D model. You just evaluate the model and answer the question. So which component is responsible for the amount of light that is entering? Let's say I do a wrong attempt over here, retina, and I click on submit. Now coming to the final question. Final question is pre-existing questions which has been added. So which type of muscles? This is similar to the previous one. There is no direct correlation of any particular component in the 3D model. It gives you a 3D model and you are being asked that which type of muscle is present in the human heart. Let's say I click on cardiac muscle. I attempt it right and I click on submit. So once I'm done, this is finished. So now once I have taken the complete test, if I need to make any other changes, I can go back and do those things. I'll click on finish. The moment I'm done, so it will give me a overall score over here. You can see that my score is 50%. I attempted all the questions. Three were correct, three were incorrect. I skipped 0 questions. So let's say if I want to do a review. So in the review, you can see that you can see the correct and incorrect. So in this one, my attempt was wrong. It is an equatorial. The red colored are one equatorial. Right. In this way, I can go for the review of all the questions. This is correct, which I attempted. So this one is incorrect. This is the cochlea. So I selected incorrect, right? And since this is a beta mode, so explanation and hint is also available. Hint will be available while attempting the question, and explanation will be enabled at the end of the assessment. So let's say it at any point in the future you want to make some changes to this assessment, you can just simply go and make edit, and you can define that okay, negative marking is there, minus marking is there for skip. If you want to add additional instruction, you can do those things as well, right? If you want to make a change to the question, let's say in here I want some changes to the question. I want to add one more option. Let's say I add one more option. I click on publish. I go back to the assessment. Sorry, I go back to the assessment over here, right? Demo assessment. I go to edit, and once I have made those changes, I need to re-update. So what I'll do is that I'll delete this question and I'll re-upload the updated question over here, add to assessment, and click on publish. So the moment I click on publish, I can just go and check and preview in the mode, right? So I think it was my question number 6. So you can see there is a fourth option which has come up, we have just added. So in this way you can very easily create assessment. You can on the go, you can make changes by simply, and like we have already discussed that whenever you are creating a question through a 3D model, adding a 3D model from the if from the project allows you to make do customization, and adding a 3D model from the library doesn't allow any customization because it is in the predefined mode. And at any point if you want to change the model, you can just go and click here and change the model as well. So let's say you have another version of this model, or you have some changes in the question for which you need to change the model, you can do that as well. So this is a quick overview how using the Perceive platform, you're creating questions through question bank. And once the question has been created, you can directly go to the assessment, create assessment, and from the repository of the question bank, you can directly fetch the questions and publish it for the end user to take a test. So that's all from my end. Thank you.